3 months ago, I had a great job and a nice apartment, and I was in love with my wife.
When? No.
How long?
A year.
The first time. On our sides.
Hello, welcome to What the Flick. Christy, Alonzo, Matt, and Ben, we're all here, and we've all seen This Is Where I Leave You. We have really varying opinions on this. Some of us are really high on it. Want to describe?
Some really high.
Pretty much.
On Manischewitz.
You guys are all cynical dipshits. I don't think that. I don't. No offense.
We're cynical.
None taken.
No, I mean, obviously, no offense. So, home. I was about to call it Home for the Holidays.
It is.
Right. This Is Where I Leave You is the story of 4 siblings and their mother. But the 4 siblings are brought home to their suburban family home in New York when the father dies. And his dying wish was that this family, which isn't even vaguely Jewish, but is technically Jewish, sit Shiva for an entire week. The father's idea being, you've drifted apart. I want to make sure that after I die, you come together and you're forced to spend a week together. And they have different relationship issues, and one of them brings a girlfriend who's inappropriate, and there's another one trying to have a baby, and one marriage is just broken up, and one is loveless. And they all gather together under the watchful eye of their overly sharing therapist mother, Jane Fonda. And it is full of tropes, and you know exactly where it's headed, and it is just simply lovely. Here's one.
I imagine by now you are well into the excessive facial hair phase of your depression.
It's not a good time, Wendy.
Dad's dead.
What?
Mommy.
What's different about her?
The boobs. She had a little touch-up.
Your father had one final request, and we are going to honor it. He just wanted his kids under one roof. So for the next 7 days, you are all grounded.
Hey. What? Oh, no, we're just sitting in an awkward silence.
We made love on our first date.
Mom.
I don't mind telling you, the man was hung.
That should have been the headstone.
Clearly, she lost more than a husband.
Starting over is complicated, and you don't do complicated, Judd. You never have. Anything can happen. Anything happens all the time.
I've been chasing this idea about a perfect life. But life is unpredictable and irrational and complicated. And I want a complicated life.
Mawkish, false,
Bullshit.
cringe-inducing,
Such bullshit.
painful.
Okay, all right.
Before.
Answer me this, sir.
Sure.
Why don't these siblings get along?
Because
Where is the one
Because they're in a movie.
scene that explains why these 4 people don't get along? That's never
first of all,
laid out.
First of all, that's not you're given an impression that they don't get along or don't spend much time together, but the fact is we know they actually do get along. The only person they don't really get along with is Corey Stoll, the older brother, who's sort of a prick. But we know that the relationship right away, as we see Adam Driver and Jason Bateman. Adam Driver is the youngest and sort of the screw up in the family, and he drives up at the funeral in a Porsche, a bad scene. But as soon as he sees Jason Bateman, they have a clear, kind, brotherly moment. The relationship between Jason Bateman and Tina Fey has always been strong and thrived. They just wish they talked more, but they're each married and they have kids, so. Yeah, they all do get along, and perhaps they didn't realize they all get along, and I don't know if that's the message or whatever, but this movie is almost identical to Home for the Holidays and The Family Stone, 2 movies that I love.
Okay,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is your
Well,
sweet
that
spot.
explains it then.
This is your sweet spot. You
This is a
went in
sweet
knowing
spot.
you were going to like this then.
I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't. I thought I wouldn't like it, and then I had
So
expectations.
disappointed in you right now that you
How
fall
many-
for this kind of
How
crap.
many siblings do you have?
I have one. This is nothing like my family.
Okay, yeah.
This is
I
not.
come from a large family, and I know these movies are crap, and they are lies, and it is so contrived, and this is a great cast. I mean, I would watch these actors do just about anything, but I didn't buy a second of this. It all felt so just kind of hastily constructed, and we're told that they don't get along, whatever. But there's never any kind of clear explanation. Maybe they do get along. We never get a clear picture of what their relationship with the dead father was like. I didn't buy all the stuff about that they're still reeling about the book that Jane Fonda wrote about all of them years ago and being all revelatory. You get used to shit like that, or you don't come home anymore. And I
think they're used to it. They're just giving her a hard time. Like, and here she is repeating the stuff while they're sitting Shiva and telling the neighborhood. There were a bunch of false scenes in this, but overall, sometimes a movie with a number of false moments, and I mentioned driving up in the Porsche and many of those conversations with the neighbors as they come through while they're sitting Shiva, which you're referring to. There's a scene where Jason Bateman passes out at one point and has an awakening, and it was dumb. That was contrived. But there are some movies, like The Family Stone, like Home for the Holidays. Home for the Holidays a little better than Family Stone, and maybe even a little better than this. I like that movie a lot. But where it is, again, same thing, you have incredibly likable actors, and not just sort of likable, really, as you said, enormously likable, talented actors. Tina Fey, Jason Bateman, and Adam Driver is fantastic. I like Corey Stoll a lot. And Rose Byrne and Connie Britton, who's really nice in this movie, and Jane Fonda, of course. And they're just being lovely. And there's no villain, and they're lovely to each other, and they're funny, and it's charming. And I know what's going to happen here is that this movie is going to kick ass on cable. This is going to be a movie that people come upon, and especially in the even people like you. This is where it pays off for me to be way dumb, to be dumber, people smarter than I am. Where I so love that I'm the dumb one here.
Expectations of television is going to be good for this film. Is that
there's going to be something
you're
where
laundry and not paying attention to it while it's on.
You're home alone, and this movie will make you feel good.
That's it. You're
so when there's no financial barrier of entry, and it's better than having the TV off. Okay, fine.
No, it's more than that, because
silence is preferable.
It will make you feel good, and that it will
it made me cringe. It made me uncomfortable.
This is another like white people problem, bougie ass movie about all these people in their fancy suburban home getting stoned and like getting mawkish about whatever, and then these relationships that I never bought for a second.
But a lot of us have white people problems, and by the way, having your marriage break up and being in a loveless marriage, those are black, brown, yellow, white, orange people problems.
But if I recognized any of the human beings involved, then yes, you're right, they would be. But they just felt like bullshit screenwriter problems.
There's a lot of that going on. First of all, some of the people in this are wildly miscast. Tina Fey, wildly miscast.
Well, who is she? Who's her character?
Right. I know.
What's his name playing the rabbi?
Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz. Wildly miscast.
What's Tina Fey's deal with Timothy Olyphant?
He's funny, but it's not appropriate to the way that character is written. Rose Byrne's character is so badly written in this, as is Connie Britton's.
I liked Connie Britton's character.
I think her character is given one line that half-ass explains her attraction to Adam Driver, but you never get any depth of that character as a person. Rose Byrne's character has no depth. Tina Fey's character has very little depth in that she's like, oh, she's the sister. Like, there's nothing to her character outside of like.
We had a nice moment with her and Adam Driver about the voice in his head, and
that's one blip. Everything else about her is like.
I think you guys are. I think your cynicism has ruined your joy, and I'm sorry for all people.
You're pointing out the characters you mentioned who are all really flat and empty are all women.
Yeah. Well,
right? All the women here are ideas. Rose Byrne is, as you say, she's manic pixie dream girl, and she's adorable and happens to have been waiting in the small town all this time for Jason Bateman to return. Connie Britton is like the desperate cougar. Jane Fonda is like the inappropriate wacky mom.
I don't think any of those
Tina Fey is nobody. Who is she?
Those things aren't true. You say those things, but they're not true.
They are true. There's no depth to any of the women in this film.
There's as much depth to Tina Fey as any other character.
So they're all shallow.
They're all nothing.
They're all shallow.
They're all fine. They're all likable. They're all.
Tina Fey's character is written. She's the sister. She had a period. She had sex. As a guy, nobody knows how to deal with that. That's the weird other. Jason Bateman's wife in this is terribly written. You get no sense of why. Like, sure, he talks about why they may have broke up, but it's not real. There's no there's no depth to her. These are terribly written female characters.
I disagree. I didn't feel that at all. Not at all. I mean,
Well,
I think
that's because you hate women.
I do, yeah. I mean, but women don't have great depth. That's the problem. I mean, if they...
Ben, you should just turn on Lifetime for the Christmas season and just
No, don't. You'll cry your
engorge
eyes
yourself
out.
because
I knew when I saw this movie, and I say this because I love her, I was like, I thought, I was like, wow, everyone else is going to hate this movie. Although, look, there's some critics who like it okay. And partly I'm raising my score here because I know I'd have a fight on my hand.
Well, I'm going to lower mine.
I'll raise it again. It's a 10. But I thought...
It's a -4.
I know my wife would see this movie, and she would be like, what is wrong with critics? This was so wonderful. I know that's coming. And I just think that is, I think a lot of people will feel that way. I think a lot of people will be very pleasantly surprised. I don't really want to go much farther.
This is the kind of movie that I would have gone to see when I was 11 and thought that I was seeing something very mature and adult and sophisticated.
It was such a great time. It was 1978. I'd never been happier.
Like when I went to see The Four Seasons, and I thought it was really deep, and now it's like, not so much. This is that kind of movie. Like if a younger, stupider me would have been fooled by, like, oh, this movie's about adult relationships and da-da-da. And no, it's crap.
And Jane Fonda's in it.
Exactly.
But it's likable. Do you like the Family Stone or Home for the Holidays?
Home for the Holidays is okay. Family Stone is terrible.
Should we mention who directed it?
Yeah, it doesn't help the case.
Yeah.
No, but it's a pattern.
It says a lot.
He doesn't know how to make dramas.
He doesn't know how to make comedies either.
But I mean, I agree with you on many of
Shawn
Levy's
Levy.
other movies. I just think this one's better. I just think it's much better. But I think that's partly the cast.
I'd rather sit through the Night of the Museum movies again on a continuous loop for
First Night
24
of the Museum
hours
was-
than watch
was-
this again.
First
The
Night of the Museum was pretty
Internship was
good.
terrible. Date Night, as you admit, Date
I'd
Night was
rather watch
terrible.
Big Fat
Also with
Liar
Tina
again
Fey.
than this.
That was
All right,
terrible.
so please give us your astronomically large number, Ben.
Jank.
12. 7.9.
Okay. Alonzo.
3.
Matt.
5.
I also give
Thank
it a
you.
3.
Thank you.
Despite Ben's greatest mathematical efforts, our number is still a 4.7. It's a 46% and dropping on the tomato meter.
You don't know that it's dropping.
It was higher, and now it's 46%.
Well, is
Even
that
I
the
know that's
definition of dropping?
Yes, it is.
Well, all right.
It will drop.
You'll make it happen.
Exactly.
Who do you trust among us? Just think about that when you're choosing this
I'm
weekend.
the voice of America.
We are pinheads, and you are a patriot. Bye.